Greetings from the European Commission headquarters, a major component of the European Union, here in the heart of Brussels. Brussels, the capital and heart of the country of Belgium. And I want to talk a little bit about the European Union, a little bit about its past, more so about its future, and what this grand experiment may be coming to here in the greater Europa. Is it going to survive and come stronger and become a singular United States of Europe? Or will it fracture due to economic and cultural stresses and maybe stagnate and not become anything at all? That's the million-dollar question. I think it's a positive note going up, but first, before I even get to that, here we are in Brussels, Belgium. Where's Tintin? Where are you? Fantastic, little bit of a rainy day, pretty typical weather for Brussels, Belgium. It is the heart of the country of Belgium, for one, but this city is also the bureaucratic heart of Europe now. Not only is EU Commission headquartered here, but I think most of the European Union bureaucracy is in and around this town. Thousands and thousands and thousands of bureaucrats taking up most of the office space in this quarter of the city. And also there's NATO headquarters that are just across town too. Brussels is a very, very, very epicenter of the bureaucracy that is Europe, that's holding together these big institutions. Now, why in Belgium? What's going on in Belgium? Why is all this stuff here? And how is Belgium kind of symbolic of the greater European Union experiment? I'm glad you asked, because I've been thinking about these things since I've been hanging out here for a few days, talking to lots of locals. Belgium itself is fantastic. Everybody knows about Belgium for its great beers and great chocolate, and everybody thinks they make Belgian waffles, but they're just regular damn waffles. But when I think of Belgium, I think of a country that's not really that unified. It's not really a nation state per se, in that we think of Germany has Germans in it, and Italy has Italians in it, and the French, oh, so you're filled with French people in France. Belgium, there's not necessarily a identity of Belgianness. It's actually kind of a divided state. In the north is Flanders. In the south, you can draw draw a line directly halfway through the state. The north is Flanders, the south is Wallonia. Up in the north part in Flanders, they actually speak a language that's much closer to Dutch. In fact, they were part of the Netherlands off and on through history. Here in the southern part, in Wallonia, they speak French. And they are kind of more culturally like the French, and off and on throughout history, they've been part of France. Actually, it was partly part of Germany too. And here is Brussels, right smack dab in the middle. That's the capital and its own little district that is the most cosmopolitan European city of them all, where everybody speaks like 10 million languages. So what's the deal with all that, and how is this symbolic of a greater Europe? Well, in the north, Flanders is kind of the rich part. It's where a lot of the current industry is. This is a big shipping place. Lots of big industries as well, but they do a lot of trade. It's one of the reasons why Belgium's rich overall. They're big traders throughout history. Lots of money in the north. They pay lots of taxes because they have great social benefits like welfare and early retirement and lots of other things. So the money is up north. The industry is up north. The south in Wallonia, not so much. They used to have a big steel industry in the south, I believe, but it's kind of post-industrial landscape. It's more rural. The folks there don't make as much money. Unemployment is much higher in Wallonia than it is up in Flanders. GDP per capita, much lower in Wallonia than it is up in Flanders. So you have this state that's culturally divided, yes, but it's kind of economically divided as well. Money's up north, poor folks down south. The people up north in Flanders, perhaps there's a bit of friction between their Wallonian neighbors because they feel like, well, we're paying all the taxes, we make all the money up here that then goes to social benefits to people in the south. The folks in the south say, oh, it's not our fault. There's not enough industry down here. The north's not supplying enough, investing enough down here, and that's why unemployment's higher, and we're not making as much money. And yes, we do want our social benefits. In fact, a lot of locals told me that there's kind of a strain of more politically socialist candidates are in Wallonia, more capitalist oriented up in the north. So you have this division of culture, but also this division of political parties and this division of economies from north to south in Belgium itself. And again, Brussels is right smack dab in the center. What the hell has that got to do with the European Union? I think here in 2013, Belgium, the epicenter for the European Union bureaucracy, the state actually exactly symbolizes Europe as a whole. And what I mean by that is, where are all the richest countries of Europe? Where? In Europe. Europe as a whole, where's all the money at? Let's see. Germany's the biggest economy. France is a big economy, mostly in the north. All the lowland countries, the Benelux, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, they're all rich. Hey, they're all up north. The UK, that's like the number 6 or 7 economy on planet Earth. That's up north. If you start looking at GDP per capita, where the wealthiest per person is, the people that make the most money per person, Finland, Norway, Sweden, hey, they're all up north too. All of the richest countries of the European Union, or Europe as a whole, are north. Where's everybody going broke in Europe? Head south. The countries that are currently going bankrupt, Greece, Italy, Spain, Portugal, and yep, France is kind of north and kind of south, and France is in trouble too. And why are all those countries going broke? Because they have, well, economic mismanagement for one. They don't have as much big industry, as much trade as the northern countries, but also all of the countries of Europe expend a lot of money on social welfare, on benefits, on unemployment, on retirement, all of these things. But the countries in the south can't afford it. So this exact bipolar dichotomy that's Belgium exactly mirrors what's happening in Europe as a whole. And northern Europeans, much like the Flemish in northern Belgium, are the ones that make the most money and pay the most taxes, which then go to benefits for everyone within Belgium. Equate that perfectly to the European Union. The rich countries of the north put in the biggest banknote and actually control most of the banking system of Europe that goes into helping spread the wealth around to prop up Greece right now, to possibly lend money to Italy. They've already lent money to Spain to keep propping them up. So you see what I'm talking about here? Belgium equals the grander European Union experiment, almost to a T. And in fact, there's even greater, in fact, if not huge, unemployment in Europe, almost all in the south. So you have unemployment rates of 30 to 50% in Spain, probably 100% in Greece. I don't know that anybody's working down there right now. So all of these traits of Belgium are exactly happening here at the European Union level as well. Now, what does that mean for the future? We're standing here in front of the European Commission, which is just one piece of the European Union puzzle. There are many different divisions, let's say. The European Commission did a great tour of yesterday and actually understand how the European Union works a lot more after that trip. And that is that the European Commission is they're the workhorse. These are people that are on the ground doing 95% of the actual talking and writing stuff and figuring out how do we, if we're going to have an emissions standard for the European Union, let's sit down and talk country to country and person to person. What should we do? How will we do this? What should we do about pollution? What should we do about trade? Let's sit down and hammer out trade agreements between the member states and what we're doing, people to people. It's very pragmatic, very real. It's not grandiose. They're not shooting from the top down. They're saying, no, we're going to do this person to person as much as we can, and then we'll let the European Parliament, a different division, they can, that's where you have representation from all the European countries, and they sit around kind of as a legislative body to pass a law or to pass some sort of unification or pass a constitution. European Parliament does that. This is the Commission, the workhorse. European Parliament's more like the legislation body. And then you have the Council of Ministers, which is a group no one can really tell me what the hell they do. And that's a separate division of the European Union as well. That's actual, they deal with issues that can't be hammered out anywhere else. So it's like intergovernmental stuff. That Spain has to sit down and talk and hammer something out with Italy. That would happen at the Council of Ministers. And again, who knows how much they get done because it's just bickering. That's where states have things that they're personally interested in that don't really apply to the whole European Union. It just applies to their state and maybe their neighbor. So Council of Ministers, European Parliament, who knows how much they do. European Commission, workhorse. They're the ones that are putting things together, and they're the ones who work on getting new members in and getting those new members up to par, up to standard, that they fit into this grander experiment that is the European Union. I'm standing in front of the European Commission, and there is 28 flags. You can't see them all. Half of them are behind the camera right now. 28 flags because Croatia just a couple of months ago became the newest 28th member of this economic juggernaut, with plans of inducting at least 2 or 3 more of the old Balkan states, what used to be former Yugoslavia. Several of them are applying for membership. Of course, Turkey has been attempting to get membership in the EU for, let's see, 5 decades. They may or may not get in. Possibly Ukraine and Georgia in the future as well. So What is the future for this European experiment? Who knows what exactly the future will hold, but they do seem to be going forward with a unification of Europe into a true United States of Europe. That causes some cultural friction with some folks who say, I don't want to be European, I want to be German. I don't want to be European, I want to be Italian. So there's cultural frictions, but there's also economic frictions, which I've now alluded to. That people from the north may say, why are we paying all these taxes for these poor people down in the south? They haven't quite gotten to the point of being a United States like America, but they're working towards it because they're still talking about building more bridges, building more unification properties like a constitution that might get passed someday, and they still are inducting new members and have plans to. And that's what's exciting about this European Union experiment. That's what I wanted to talk about. It's still going forward. It's very much like Belgium itself, continent-wide, and it's an exciting time to see where the European Union will go here in 2013. But for now, I'm out.